Interviews can be scary and intimidating. So, whether you're applying for jobs or you just got a mail for an interview, make sure to stay to the end of this video to find out my 4 secrets to nailing interviews. Thinking back, I used these 4 strategies to land a role in UN, to land an EdTech role in London. So stay tuned. So the first step is to come up with possible questions that you'll be asked during your interview. So think about going through the job description, going through your CV, going through the company's profile, and then coming up with as much questions that you feel that will be asked. Because most times in your interview, the questions that might come up is not so far from the job description or your CV, because when you applied, you submitted your CV, you possibly submitted a motivation letter or a cover letter. So they must have gone through your CV, your experiences, gone through your motivation letter, and some of the questions there might come from your experiences. So I've had an interview where I highlighted experience in a organization, in volunteering in an organization, and the interviewer actually asked me questions about that experience, what I learned and how it applies to this role that I want to work in. Still on coming up with questions, if you're not able to come up with as much questions on your own, you can take a screenshot of the job description and also upload your CV and your application material, so your motivation letter, cover letter, everything, to chat GPT or any AI tool you use if you're comfortable with doing that, and ask you to generate possible questions that you'll be asked during the interview. Now, the next thing you want to do is to write down your answers to these questions. So questions like, tell me about yourself. When did you experience failure while working in a team, and how were you able to navigate this? How does your previous role tie to this current role you want to do? What is your goal for this role, especially when it comes to intern roles? So, what is your goal? What do you want to learn? What do you want to achieve? So, write down, make sure to write down these answers exactly how you would say it. And in practicing, you also want to record it so that you can hear yourself, hear how you sound, remove any unnecessary word, because as much as you want to impressed. Keep in mind that sometimes these interviews might be as short as 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and it's over. So you want to say the most relevant things in a short time. So keeping your answers to 1 minute or less. So being able to properly articulate your experiences in 1 minute or less. So you write it down, as I said, record it, listen, refine, and you can also practice with your friends or people that you're comfortable with being vulnerable to that extent with, so they can help to give you feedback and refine your answers. The next thing you want to do before your interview is to make sure you dress. So you see how I'm dressed, like I'm confident, I'm comfortable. Because one thing you want in your interview, you want to show up confident, you want to show up comfortable. So make sure that you dress, you look the part. Don't think that you're doing too much, don't think that you're doing extra, because first impression matters. So even if it's not just only dressing that makes you feel confident, maybe you need to spray your best fragrance, maybe you need to stay in the corner of the house that makes you feel comfortable, maybe you need to keep on practicing or play songs that make you feel comfortable. Make sure to do that before your interview. Also, one thing you want to do is to make sure to set up your space before the interview. So whether it's making sure that your laptop is charged, making sure that you have access to internet, making sure that everything is set up. So if you don't have access to constant light, making provisions for that. Because the worst thing that can happen is maybe few minutes before your interview, and then you're getting tensed up because your laptop is low or something is happening. You do not want that. So as much as possible, reduce distractions in your environment. Now, this extra tip I'll give is for during your interview. So, usually after your interview, the interviewer will ask you, do you have any questions? The answer to that question always should be yes. Because when you're being interviewed for a job, it's not just you trying to impressed, you should also want to know more about the company. And then that area where they ask, do you have questions, is a good place for you to show curiosity, for you to also learn more about the company. Because I truly believe that during interviews, it's a two-way communication. They're trying to know if you're a good fit for their company. You're also trying to know if they're a good fit for you. So make sure you ask questions when they ask that. And even if they don't ask questions, propose that you have a question to ask. So you can ask, usually, I would ask things like understanding how the day in the life of this role feels like. So for me, it's a way to understand if this is something I see myself doing, if this is the type of work I see myself doing. You can also ask for the supervision style of the manager. That's if you're interviewing directly with your manager or your prospective supervisor, so you can understand, is this the kind of person I would be comfortable working with, I'll be comfortable learning from. And those questions show that you're curious, you're eager to learn, you're confident, you can work independently, you can speak up. And these are certain soft skills that some companies look out for when interviewing. So make sure to ask the questions. And if they did not ask at the end of the interview, do you have any questions? Always offer to ask the question at the end of the interview. If you enjoyed this video, check out this video on peer to peer mentorship, where I talk about not just seeking for mentorship from the top people in your sectors, but also seeking for mentorship from your peers.